Craziest ways people fake their own death. Do you know that back in 2008, a man faked his own death and managed to live in a whole new country for about 20 years? If this sounds shocking, then wait till you know more about the crazy ways people fake their own death. So make sure to watch till the very end and please subscribe. Number 1. Alexander I of Russia. It might come as a surprise to you, but Alexander I of Russia actually faked his own death, and it was unnoticed for not just years, but for centuries. It was only recently that historians found out the evidence that Alexander actually staged his own death. In fact, it is believed that Alexander escaped and began living his life as Fedor Kuzmich. It obviously is weird for a prince to stage his own death, but he might have his own reasons. Well, the researchers are currently matching the handwritten letters of Fedor and Alexander to confirm this theory. Number 2. Belle Gunness. Belle was a very famous murderer back in the day, and she actually ended the lives of more than 150 people. But when she was finally found guilty of her crimes, she decided to take the high road and staged her own death. She burned the entire place down so people could think that she died in the fire. In fact, a headless body was also found on the site of the fire, but it is claimed by an ally of Belle that the body is of a housekeeper. The ally also claimed that Belle is still alive. It has been reported several times that people around the U.S. have spotted her on roads, but police haven't been able to arrest her yet. Number 3. John Stonehouse. John was actually a respectable member of UK's Parliament, but things became really bad in his life and he had to fake his own death to get away with things. He was caught while being head of different fraudulent businesses, so he went to Miami for a vacation with his mistress. He took this chance and faked his own death by pretending to drown in Miami. People believed the claims of his mistress, but John actually escaped to Australia. He was eventually caught and brought back to Britain, where he served in prison for a while, so the whole death drama kind of went in vain. Number 4. Amy Semple McPherson. Amy disappeared back in 1926, and you should know that she was quite famous at that time for being an evangelist. People were really stressed out, and one of her followers even died of grief because of her disappearance. Amy actually went to beach in LA and was never seen again. People thought that she drowned, and an elaborate search team was sent to find her. Unfortunately, a search member drowned in the waters trying to find her, but after 5 weeks, Amy came to public and said that she just went off the grid because some people wanted to kidnap her. However, people weren't completely on board with this whole kidnapping story, and it just seemed shady and fraud or a possible publicity stunt. Number 5. Lord Lucan. Back in 1974, Lord Lucan also disappeared and his car was found with pills. The scene looked like a suicide setting, but the background was shady. Richard John Bingham was the Earl of Lucan, and he was also related to Princess Diana. He was accused of murdering his nanny and assaulting his own wife. But he ran away and his car was found abandoned with an empty bottle of pills. He wanted to make it look like he killed himself, but there have been reports that he escaped with the help of his rich friends and connections. Number 6. Patrick McDermott. Patrick was famous for having a love affair with Olivia Newton-John. In 2015, Patrick was under huge debt, so he decided to go on a fishing trip to Mexico where he faked his own death. Obviously, he never came back and just kind of disappeared. And it was actually very mysterious, but people now believe that Patrick staged his own death. There are reports that he ran away because of all his debts and child support that he had to pay. It makes perfect sense. Number 7. Samuel Israel. Samuel Israel was accused of heading a Ponzi scheme, but before he was arrested, he ran away. He took his car and abandoned it on a bridge. He wrote, "Suicide is painless," on his car. It was all just so Samuel could make the police think that he committed suicide. But given his track record, the authorities didn't believe him and knew that he staged his death. So they continued looking for him and found him in hiding in an RV with his girlfriend. Interestingly, Samuel is still alive and is spending the rest of his life in prison. Number 8. William Groth. William Groth's case is very interesting because he not only faked his death but also posed as his own murderer. He parked his car and scattered his belongings everywhere, which actually led people to believe that it was a staged death. Later on, they ended up catching William Groth, and as it turns out, he staged his own death and was posing as a murderer just to get the $1 million of insurance money. While we're at it, you should also know that he was a lawyer. Number 9. Alfredo Sanchez. Sanchez was working for a company in England, but he was under huge debt and credit card loans, so he decided to fake his own death. He asked his wife to call his employers. She did and told them that Alfredo died of a heart attack and that he has already been cremated. Soon his wife started receiving insurance claims and payments of his pension, but the company wasn't giving up that easy. So they hired a private investigator, and it was found that Alfredo was actually living in Australia, and he got married to his wife again with a new name. He was arrested immediately and was found guilty of fraud. Number 10. Alison Matera. What Alison did back in 2006 wasn't just insensitive, but also very cruel. She told her church choir that she had cancer and that she might die soon. By the end of that year, Alison claimed that she was admitted to the hospital and gave her nurse's number to her choir fellows so that they could check in on her. The nurse actually sounded a lot like Alison, so it made the choir a little suspicious, but when the nurse announced to them on the phone that Alison was dead, they truly believed that something was wrong. Soon, police got a hand on Alison and found that she faked her own death. Her reason was actually very bizarre. She said that she did it just so she could drive away with her friends. Apparently, Alison had some attachment issues rooted in childhood trauma. But whatever it was, faking a death shouldn't be an answer to it. Despite all of this, Alison wasn't arrested because, according to the sheriff, she didn't commit a felony. So which one of these fake deaths actually amazed you? Tell us in the comment section. Also, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to get the latest updates. We'll see you in the next video.